Hey, so just a quick video to talk through how we would use contactless triggers to achieve the same thing pretty much. So we would have a question somewhere in our survey asking people for an identification number or code or something like that, any sort of form of identification. So let's just say ID number, for example. This should be something that they will always remember, just to be 100% safe. Perhaps you're already passing this through, but I don't think so, so we'll be just asking this as a question. Next thing we would do is we would go to the tools area right here. We would go to triggers and contactless triggers. Now for a contactless trigger to work, we need the email address to be piped in. Now we might not be asking for each person's email address. So in that case, you'd probably be best off just to make up an email address and always pipe that in each time. That's perfectly fine. So let's just pretend it's coming from embedded data and it's just going to be email. Then what we do is we will need the external data reference to be the ID number. The external data reference is going to be what we actually want these people to authenticate into the second survey with, so we can identify who they are. So we want to pull in a question, we want to pull in their ID number and their ID number. So this is going to store each person's ID number as an external data reference, and we're just pasting in like just a fake email address just to fill that field. Then we'd go ahead and add additional fields, give it a name, so like something like question 1, and then the answer to question 1, selected choices, all of the information that you're interested in. This is the exact same as in the email trigger area. You're just basically storing as many of the questions that you're interested in passing through to the second survey as embedded data in the contact list. So people come in to this first survey through the anonymous link. We don't need to send out unique links or anything like that to these people. We just need to go ahead and add a contact list, and you can create a new contact list just to fill with people who take this survey. If you want, you can also add a condition, but I don't think in this case that will be necessary, so let's just go ahead and leave that blank. Let me just pick one for now. But once you have chosen all of that, we just go ahead and save the triggers. We'll need to go into our survey flow and add a new element and create an embedded data field called email, because we are pulling the email address into the contact list from here. So you can just type in something like test@test.com and just move that up to the top just so that that's always been recorded. The email address in this case won't matter at all. So once we've done that, we would save our flow, and we're finished with the first survey. So then we just need to click through to the second survey and set up our authenticator so we can identify who each person is in our second survey. So to do that, we would go again into the survey flow, we would add a new element here, and we would choose the authenticator. We would then go to the contact list that we're adding all of these people from our first survey into. So I'm just going to pretend that that is my 4 digits contact list, but just make sure you're selecting the correct one. And the authentication field in this case is going to be our external data reference, which is actually what people's ID number. So we're just going to call this ID number because this is what's going to be presented to them, but it's referencing the external data reference in your contact list. You need to make sure that that's at the very top of your survey flow and that all blocks of questions and other elements in the survey flow are contained within this authenticator, so that only people who successfully authenticate will get into the rest of the survey. Then you would go ahead and do as we did earlier, the same as we would with our email triggers. We would go ahead and add all of the embedded data fields into here and make sure that they're appearing above the block of questions we want to pipe them into. So we would be pulling in our question 1, our question 2, and it's the exact same process as using the email trigger method. We're pulling this out of the contact list because people have authenticated in, so we identify who they are, and then we're pulling in that stored information, and then we would pipe in our embedded data fields into the questions in the survey. So very similar to the email trigger method, but a little bit different in the sense we're storing it within the product rather than actually passing it through. So people can again just come into this survey using the anonymous link to this survey, they'll hit the authenticator, and then we'll be able to identify who they are. So in both surveys, people will be using the anonymous links for both. So I hope that answers your question, but if you do have trouble setting this up or have any other questions, just let me know.